I'm a developer at Makerbot Industries, and we make these 3D printers, which you may have seen. Okay, so yeah, these are the 3D printers. What I wanted to do was actually kind of, I wanted to fit in, so I also made a project sort of based on a lot of work Kyle did, which is trying to make a 3D photo booth using a Kinect and a Makerbot. And so Kyle worked with us back earlier this year to make this sort of scanner. And we were able to replicate people's faces. We did a couple hundred of them. But the problem was that the sort of like path from taking the picture to actually having a printed object took multiple hours because it was so complex. So what I realized this week was that we didn't need to do that. And we could go, well, okay, so what we want to do if we're going to make a printed object is you need to take some sort of 3D thing and convert it into a bunch of layers. And so this would be like how the Makerbot looks from the Makerbot's perspective. It's just drawing more and more plastic. So we want to take an object and we want to tell the printer how to move. And so I created this quick thing which uses openFrameworks and OpenCV, and it takes a depth map. So you start off with a depth map coming from the Kinect, and the first thing that you do is basically figure out how to threshold it so that you see data from dark to light that you care about. And then after that, you bin it basically, so you have a whole bunch of different frames, and you use this wonderful OpenCV library called, or OpenCV function to make contours from the edges, and that directly becomes G-code paths. And then when you're making a 3D object, if you're printing and you're making a whole bunch of layers and then you want to make something that's somewhere that you haven't made plastic before, you're going to need to also generate some sort of structure, because otherwise it's going to fall down. So you can cheat, and you could do this in a really expensive way that we do in our sort of like standard Makerbot setup, where you're doing all this vector math calculations. But I figured out that if you want to make like zigzag patterns to print on, all you have to do is actually just draw black boxes. So I did that, and then I also ran it through the OpenCV contour function again, and it generates all these lovely toolpaths. And when you get done with it, it ends up looking like that, and that's something that you would print on a printer. And then finally, you run it into the printer, and you get something like this, which are a whole bunch of examples of people. And all my code is available here on GitHub. So.